When it comes to automations, Amazon PPC automations, the I would say bid optimization is a big area where we use software to automate optimizations on a weekly basis. And like we were saying earlier, Sammy, like I think a lot of people's skepticism around automations is number one, not necessarily knowing what the automation is doing, and then also maybe not knowing what the result of that automation is. So we use a set of parameters that's really easy for anyone to understand, including myself. Right? You can see it. You can see the formulas. You can see all of the information. And then what we do is we we teach people how to measure the results. So it's cause and effect. So when it comes to optimizations, if you're not measuring the cause and effect, then it's hard to figure out whether or not it's actually getting results. And I want to like specify automations. Like I think some people think of, because there are different types of automations in terms of like the way people talk about it in the Amazon PPC world. Because there are like tools that like do bids every day and things like that, which I don't know. I mean, we don't do bids every day, but we use a software that allows us to optimize bids. Then we can see, hey, the adjustments we made, what was the performance before we made the adjustments and what was after. So that way you're developing the skills, you're leveraging the automation. So without the automation, you go in, you click the keywords, you make the changes. With the automation, it gives you time to sit back and analyze the data and become the strategist. So you sit back and you look at it and you go, okay, this was before we made the change. This was after we made the change. What are the results and why? And the more data points you can look at, the better you're going to get as a PPC strategist and the better you're going to get at understanding the algorithm. And so automations allow you to like step away from clicking buttons and do more analytical work, which from my perspective is extremely important. I actually think that like at the highest level, the analytical work is probably some of the hardest stuff because you're really figuring out how all these data points work together and the cause and effect. So, when it comes to automations, we definitely do bid optimization automations using specific parameters on a weekly basis. We do it a few times a week for the accounts that we manage, and our users use it as well. We have agencies and Amazon sellers that use our platform. And so bid optimization is basically running it at a specific day at a specific time. And then another thing that we do is in our software, we show you the changes that were made. So when we make the changes, it's a list of the changes that you can export as a CSV. So which is great for archiving data, and it's great for any service providers because they can show, hey, we adjusted these 100 keywords. Here was the bid before, and here was the bid after, and they can have a spreadsheet of all the logs, which gives transparency to what's going on, which is huge. And the other thing is you can reverse the changes. So with our software, let's say you make an adjustment, right, on Tuesday. And then next Tuesday, you're like, or Monday, you're like, I want to analyze the before and after. And it doesn't do very well after those changes. You can roll back the changes and restore it back to its original data set so that you can work to get back to your original state. Because not every change that you make is going to yield good results. That's the nature of testing. The nature of testing is that sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So, you got to get used to that. So, if it doesn't work, roll it back. But if you're not tracking all of that, then what happens? Then you're not, if you're going in and just randomly optimizing things and then something messes up and you have no clue, I did 50 optimizations 2 hours last week, but I don't remember what they are. You can always go to the keyword history log, but how long is that going to take? Because you got to click on each campaign, you got to click on each ad group, and then you got to click keyword history. That's going to take you hours, man, versus having a log. So those are some ways that we use software to really optimize bids and manage the before and after. And also when it comes to we use Excel files like Excel automations, which we're working on taking our Excel automations and putting in the software. But take an Excel automation, for example, and like expanding and expansion campaigns, like creating new campaigns for a client. Well, it takes time to put the with the new bulk file, you gotta update, you gotta create the bulk file to upload it, right? Well, we create automations that use our methodologies where you click one button and it creates all the campaigns for you in about a second or less, right? So it uses our methodology, so we teach the people that who use it how we do it, and then so they can know what the methodologies are. We tell them exactly what's going on. Hey, here are the parameters that we use. And I think that with people who are in PPC and doing PPC, they want to know those parameters because it gives them that comfort of, okay, this person is using good methodologies behind their automations. So I think the methodology behind the automation is important for people who want to know that. And people who do PPC for a living, they need to know that stuff because it impacts the results that they get for the accounts that they manage. And, if you don't get good results for the accounts that you manage, we all know what happens. You lose business. And so that's why I think that, teaching people those methodologies behind your automations is important as well.